Hey, this is Zaz over at Myrtle Beach Games, and we're taking a look at Betrayal at House on the Hill. I just want to show everyone what it looks like when you open it up and how the first couple turns will end up going if you decide to play. So you open it up. You actually have three manuals that come with this. You have the regular rule book, and then you have two different survival guides, depending on if you're a survivor or a traitor. And I'll get into those in a couple minutes. So, first thing we're going to look at are all these different cards. There are three different kinds of cards. You have omen cards, event cards, different events that can happen. And you have, finally, item cards. The different items that you can find. And we have our characters. These are the different characters that you can be as. There are 6 different tiles on each side. I think they're just about the same. Well, they're slightly different on each side. They use the same token on the board, so it just depends on what stats you would rather have. And then you have clips that help you keep track of your stats. You'll go ahead and clip them on, and you can move them up or down. If I can get it open, there we go. So you'll go ahead, if you want to play as Vivian Lopez, let's say. You would start on the green. This is your starting value, and depending on what happens in the game, if you get an item or an event or an omen that makes you move up or down, you can change all of your different stats. You also have different kinds of tokens. So these are monster tokens. These are little monster encounters that you could find during the haunts, and that's something that I'll talk about when we get to the secrets of survival. So instead of having an actual board, this is more of a game where you make your own board. You have a starting area with the basement, the upper level, and the ground level. And as you move along the board, you make your own board and it continues to grow. So here are your different players. So you would start the entrance way. Different items, different kinds of encounters, different events that happen. These are the bigger monster encounters, like dragons and Ouroboros' heads. Some more smaller encounters. You have a whole bunch of dice for this, and dice work a little bit differently than in most other board games. You actually roll depending on your starting number of stats. And you get a large amount. Alright, we're back. This is what your basic setup will look like. You have your events, omens, item cards, your room cards here, your upper landing and the basement landing to show that these are the upper levels and the lower levels, and then your basic ground floor. So your players always start at the entrance hall, and they can move anywhere else they want in there. Whenever you set up your characters, you have these clips to point towards their starting stats, and they have to move up and down depending on whatever happens in the game. Sometimes your clips might become a little loose and slide real easy, so if it does make more sense for you, if it helps you out, it might be better to just write it on a sheet of paper to keep track. And to figure out who would go first, each character has a birthday. So there's January 11th, March 4th, and June 6th. So whoever's playing the character with the closest birthday to the current date would go first. So Darren would go first. Okay. So on your turn, you can move however many rooms is equal to your speed. So he has a 6 for speed. So that means he can move through any 6 rooms he wants. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to move him, I could go, here would be 1, and then I could go in through this doorway into an adjacent room. And it's a blank room, so anytime you go into a blank room, you're going to take a card off of here that says what level you're on. If it says, like, for example, if the top card said basement, you would just go to the next one until you get to the level that you're on. So this top card is for anything upper level or ground level. You'll flip it, try to find some way to make it fit into the rooms. And if it has a symbol like this corresponds to a card that you need to draw. So this is the library, and this is an event symbol. So we'll draw our event card, and you have to do whatever it says on it. So this is a secret passageway. Whenever you pull the card, you put a secret passageway token in this room, and you're going to roll 3 dice, and then place the second secret passage room in whatever way it says. Okay, so I'll take 3 dice. So this is why this game has a lot of dice. It tells you to roll certain numbers sometimes, or depending on your stats, you'll roll however many you have. So I have 2. So any existing ground floor room. Well, there were only 3 existing ground floor rooms, so I can take another secret passageway. Wherever it is, I'll just use this one. And like I can put it right here. You can put it in any room that you want to. Okay? Whenever you pull a card, your turn is over. You do whatever's on the card, your turn ends immediately. Doesn't matter how many more spaces you can move. So then I would go to the next turn. She has a speed of 4. So let's say I wanted to go 1, 2, and then I can go 3 over here. I'm going to pull my card, make it kind of fit. And then this symbol corresponds to an omen card. I'll pull my omen card, and I have to do whatever it says on the card. So this says I'm going to immediately gain 2 might, and then lose 1 sanity for right now. And then this is a trigger that will happen later. I'll lose 2 might and then gain 1 sanity if I lose control of this card. This card can't be dropped, traded, or stolen. So something else would have to happen for me to lose this card. So if I want to change my stats, I'll gain 2 might. So I'll go up to this third 4, and I will lose 1 sanity. In the beginning of the game, until the haunt starts, you can't lose by hitting these skulls. These skulls would indicate that you have reached like 0 for your stats, so you would end up dying as a character. For the beginning of the game, you can't lose that way, but when the haunt starts, there is a real danger of having your stats drop down to the lowest that they would go. And then on the bottom of this card, it says you have to make a haunt roll. So what a haunt roll is, it only happens whenever you have an omen card. They only start when you have omen cards. So you need to roll a number of dice equal to how many omen cards there are. And you're trying to get your number to be higher than the number of omen cards there are. So for example, if I roll this, I get a 0, which means the haunt would start. I have rolled less than the number of omen cards there are. If I were to roll a 1, we would be fine because I haven't rolled less. If I've rolled a 2, we're fine because I rolled more. So in the event that you have a haunt starting, depending on what happens, there's a Secrets of Survival for the heroes that are remaining, and a Traitor's Tome for the person who started the haunts. If you look inside, it gives you a haunt chart, depending on what room the person's in, and the omen card that was last pulled. It would tell you what page to turn to and what haunt to start. And the same thing is in the survival guide. The exact same system would be in here. All of these are the haunts. Everyone has to use the chart. If it makes more sense for you to just like keep everything a secret, you could have the trader go into a different room, read whatever they have to do. The heroes would stay and read their survival tips. There are win conditions and losing conditions for both sides. And then it becomes a race to see who can fulfill those conditions first. This is where your players can die and where you can actually lose the game depending on your stats. So in the event, let's say if I had rolled a 1 or a 2. I wouldn't trigger the haunt. This person would go. You know, she would take her turn, maybe go over here. I would pull my card. It would be another omen card. So now, I would do whatever it says on the omen card. At the end of the turn, I would do my haunt roll. Now I have 2 haunt cards. So I'd have to roll 2 dice and try to roll higher than a 2. And the same rules would apply. And every player has to make a haunt roll at the end of their turn as soon as an omen card comes into play. So if they have omen cards, nothing happens. If Darren would to go, he doesn't pull an omen card, he still has to make a haunt roll because there are omen cards in play. Everyone has to make a haunt roll until the haunt is actually triggered. I don't want to show you any of the haunts just to keep the surprise of what could happen. There are a lot of different rules. This is where some of the monster tokens come in. Some of these special chips come into play. More of these would come in. And this is what the first, maybe couple of turns would look like in Betrayal at House on the Hill. So this is a very fun game. I hope y'all enjoyed this little sneak peek. So this is Betrayal at House on the Hill. This is how the first couple of turns would play out. I hope y'all enjoyed this sneak little peek. If you want to come and pick up a copy, you can come to Myrtle Beach Games in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. There'll be a link in the description to the website where you can look at cards and other board games.